Thursday. It's Thursday. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, and I'm here to help. That's actually what this is all about. This is a show that's all about you. The questions you ask determine the questions, well, the answers I give, because I answer questions. About traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, yeah, it's a thing. We're currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter, now referred to as X, which I question every day. But I like Elon, makes cool cars, and yeah, we're here. I spoke to a class last night at Humber College, and if you, or is it Guelph Humber? I think it was Guelph Humber. Anyway, it was Humber. And I was talking about what I do here and how we engage and how we educate and the cool stuff that we're up to. And it was really nice to speak to students about, things outside of what I focus on. I really focus on the traffic law and the safety aspect. But what I don't usually talk about is engagement and community policing and how this, matters to people. And it does matter to people. We have so many folks that reach out to us and share how glad they are that we're doing what we're doing and how much of a difference it's made to them. So, I want to thank you because you, by watching the show, by engaging with us and sharing and spending time with us, it really makes it possible. That's how we've grown to over 631,000 followers on TikTok. And I mean, we've got over 2,500 people on YouTube, and it's a totally different platform. For people who say 2,500 is nothing, 631,000 is something, one's a growth platform, and one is a platform of people who really want to stay in touch. Some of the 631,000 people who follow us on TikTok never see our content. Some of them, in fact, almost half of them are in the United States. So it's very interesting. And whoever you are and wherever you're watching, we still appreciate you, but it is definitely interesting when we start diving into why people come, why people consume the content we create, and what kind of good are we doing in the community. But I'm glad that we're here. It really makes a difference. A quick reintroduction. I said my name. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how I came to be where I am, because I realized in speaking to the students yesterday that many of you don't know my story. I started as an auxiliary officer back in 2000. I volunteered, and I had so much fun volunteering in getting closer to my dream of becoming a police officer. That I also became a court officer, special constable. And it was because there was a hiring freeze. I had no option of going directly as a police officer. Otherwise, I would have likely have done it. But there wasn't an option, so I did the next best thing. I volunteered in the best way possible. If you are looking for an amazing opportunity to serve your community as a volunteer, you could be a doctor, lawyer, accountant, or whatever, and you may never want to be a police officer, but you can still give back in a very unique way. Put on a uniform, go out and help the citizens of the community you live in. It doesn't have to be Toronto. Maybe you're from somewhere else. Maybe you're from another country. Go and serve your community in a unique way. It's truly the front. New York City does advertising in their buses, at least in their subways. I've seen their billboards in there. Are they billboards when they're subway advertisements? Anyway, transit ads. And they say, join the NYPD, the front row ticket to the best show on earth. It couldn't be more true. Now, you could argue that New York is a better show or Toronto's a better show. That's going to be a personal opinion. We're not going there. But policing is definitely a front row ticket to something you've never seen before. It's a totally different way of living, even if you're volunteering. Now, I became a court officer. I did that at the same time. I never left courts. Once I became a court officer, I never left auxiliary. In fact, I was an auxiliary sergeant when I left after 12 years of service in that role, or at least in the role of auxiliary. Then I left court supervisor, and I then, thank you, Shadow. And then I went and became a police constable in 2012. I went to the college, I graduated in 2013, and I started working as a police officer in 12th Division, but I knew I wanted to be at Traffic Services because that's where I served as an auxiliary, and I came back here. And that's really my story. I was PRU at 12, then I was traffic at 12, and I came to Traffic Services PRU, which was a divisional response for traffic services. I joined the motor squad, went to the CIB, went back to the motor squad, and that's when I got hit by a car. And my story took a strange turn. I became an officer looking for a meaningful way to contribute to my policing career because I was, I was used to going out and helping people. And now I became someone who was doing administrative stuff behind the scenes, and I didn't feel like I was helping people. And I needed that. I wanted that. It's a very selfish thing to help people because it makes you feel good. I've said that for a long, long time, that helping people is selfish because it makes you feel good. So that's why you do it. I kid to some degree because, serving people and helping people is really a selfless thing to do, except I really enjoy it. So I wanted to get more of that. And I found my way here into social media and doing what I do now, which is very rewarding, very fulfilling. And I get to help people every single day, and that makes me happy. So thank you for allowing me the benefit of happiness through service to you. That's it. Now, a quick reminder. I got to tell you about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. And that is, we have one, and they're called VZET, Vision Zero Enforcement Team. What is Vision Zero? It is a concept, a belief. It's not bricks and mortars. It's a concept that many countries and cities subscribe to, believing that we should aim for zero serious injuries and deaths on our roads. And doing that requires a partnership, a cooperation with everyone who uses the road. But it also involves the police and planners and engineers and cities. And, police have a very specific role in that scenario. We're involved with education and enforcement. And many people yell at me when I talk about VZET and said, but you can't just assume people will change their behavior and enforcement doesn't work and it's not, they got lots to say. And it's true that enforcement alone may not fix everything. It's not simple. We have to catch people and we have to enforce, and then we hope they don't do it again. And that's where cities come in to change designs. They want to protect vulnerable road users. They change the way that roads are designed to promote better behavior. But it is all at the end of the day about behavior. And at the end of the day, sometimes people need the motivation of an education through enforcement, which is what Vision Zero is. The Vision Zero Enforcement Team is. They go out and try and change driver behavior one ticket at a time, and they do that oh so well. They really do. Today, they're spending time in 32 Division and 53 Division. Those are neighborhoods like Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, Lawrence Park, Yonge and Eglinton, Rosedale, Leaside. Neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. If it was your neighborhood, you'd want us there. And, we get all sorts of reviews back that people appreciate the work that's being done because they feel safer. And that's why we post it on our social media platforms. So if you'd like to get updates every time we go out, which is, every day we post, Traffic Services on Twitter. Traffic Services Toronto on Instagram, Traffic Services on, what is it called? Facebook? Yeah, that Facebook thing. If you'd like to find all of my social media, you can go to trafficcop.ca. It takes you to my link tree, and there's links to everything, as well as useful links like signing up for renewal reminders for your driver's license and your health card and your ownership. We've got a couple of hellos that I want to mention, and I'll get to the stuff and things that are in the regular comments. But Shadow says, thanks for what you do. Thank you for the thank you. R3DR4M, which may be red. I don't know how to make that into it. I'm trying to decode it to see if I can say it into a word. Anyway, hello from Yellowknife. I miss my home province. So I guess you started out in Ontario. Well, I'm sure we miss you too. I don't know who you are, but the fact that you are here means you're awesome. Thanks to you. Let's see here. Stephen Bell says, good morning. Akela Draconis says, greetings and salutations, because that is his signature hello. Leo wife is my wife and helping to moderate today. She says, good morning to everyone. Tim Shallow says, good morning, Sean. And we have Big Jeff Fresh with a good morning, or just a morning. Michael, top of the morning. And to the rest of the day to you, sir. Let's see here. We have questions coming in through TikTok. So let me just let you know that if you have questions, please put them in the comments. If you're on YouTube or any of the other platforms, you can put them in the comments. If you're on X, you cannot. We will not see them. We don't monitor it. It's not a manual thing, or it would become a manual thing. We can't moderate that many things at once. So we ask you to go to youtube.trafficcop.ca. That's youtube.trafficcop.ca. It'll take you right over to our YouTube page. You can join there where you can ask things without the need of a moderator's assistance. Okay, we got Chase. I'm just flagging some questions. Wants to know what we see when we run a driver's license. Okay. Good questions about car seats. Oddly enough, I've been on the topic of car seats all morning. I'm creating some content. There's a journalist who's doing a story about car seats, so I'm replying to them, and I'm also creating a TikTok video about car seats. So it's perfect timing that you asked about car seats. Unmarked cop cars. People are not fine going slower. Okay, we'll talk about that. Does tint ticket affect insurance? Yeah, we'll talk about that. And Tim Shallow giving a shout out to Leo wife, thanking her for the work she's doing, because it is work. moderating is work. Normally, JD's in-house and doing it, and when JD doesn't show up, actually he's here, but he's doing other things that are needed and necessary and important, then Leo Wife jumps in, and I really appreciate it. Okay, just opening this up. There we go, opening that up. Excellent. Okay, let's get to the flagged questions. Passing someone over a solid yellow line, please let me know the ruling. So depends on where you are, because in some provinces it's illegal, in Ontario it's not. A yellow line denotes that the traffic on the other side of the line is coming at you. It's going in the opposite direction. That's the yellow line tells you that. The fact that it's solid is telling you that it's probably not a good idea to do what you're about to do. Now, there's no offense for crossing that yellow line, but if you do it, you ought to have known that that was risky, and you're responsible for everything that happens afterwards. If you caused a collision, it's your collision. You caused it, and the evidence will be overwhelmingly against you. So while it may not be and it may not be an offense to cross the line, it is absolutely going to be on you if it goes wrong. Now, passing is something that has risk. We get it. And unsafe passing has charges. And you got to really be making a good decision. And I talk about doing the right thing all the time. Following the rules, obviously, is the right thing to do. And in this case, there's no specific rule about the line. But we got to look at the why. Why are you passing? Is the vehicle in front of you doing the speed limit? Are you passing because you want to go faster than the speed limit? Then you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Cause a wreck. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, but okay. Let's see here. If I had a ticket, even though I don't have a license and I was charged, is that possible? Actually, yes. So if you are unlicensed and you are charged for an offense, you are in fact going to be charged. And when the Ministry of Transportation gets all your information with a blank driver's license number, it will generate a unique number for you, which will become your driver's license number should you ever become a licensed driver in the future. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Weird way to get your credentials. You could be 12 years old, get a ticket, and when you get 16, get a license, and that will be on your record. It's a permanent record forever and ever and ever. Now, I will say this, permanent record from the police and government side of things. From insurance perspective, they see the most current 3 years. So if it was something where you were not a licensed driver and later in life you got your license, it shouldn't impact your insurance because it was so dated and they wouldn't see it. Thank you to Faiza. Is it Faiza? I don't want to mispronounce your name. I'm going to try it. I did try it, and hopefully it was accurate. They say, by the way, you're awesome. Well, thank you very much. You're awesome too. Let's see here. We got questions about running driver's licenses. When you run a driver's license, can you see the previous police traffic stops notes? Like maybe they were a jerk and it's noted on file. Okay, so we can, if it's a Toronto police file, we can totally see it. Police services can see within their organization without an issue. When we are talking about other police services, if we're on the same type of network and if we're using the same system, then we can actually see, but we generally have to make a request and justify why we want to see it. We can see the stop was made, but if we want to see their notes, it's a little more. Oh, people want to know if I'm retiring. We'll talk about that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So yeah, we can, but it's not as simple as it doesn't automatically come out. It would see that it does show other stops, but you're talking about was someone a jerk? That kind of comment, by the way, that we don't usually use the word jerk in reports. Just saying. It's not nice. Coffee. I made a fresh pot just before the show. Yummy. Do you drink your coffee black or do you put cream in it or sugar? Is it a double thing or do you have milk? Inquiring minds want to know. I have recently started drinking black coffee because I do this intermittent fasting thing. And I was told that cream will mess it all up. I always put cream in it. And now I don't put cream in it. I just drink the coffee, which is something I never thought I'd be able to do. As a kid, no, I couldn't stand coffee. You put as much cream in it as possible. Now I can drink it black. Somebody said that you're insane if you can drink it black. Cap says cream and sugar double. And I cannot do a double anymore. I can't have any sugar. I can have cream. I'll splurge once in a while. TKF says sugar or black. I don't need it sweet. I like the cream. And now I don't have the cream. Special occasions only. Thanks for the responses. Okay. Please share why parents must supply a car seat for riding in an Uber or Lyft with children. Because it's a car and you are required by law to have a child seat in a car. And an Uber and Lyft, they're cars. Child seat, it's for the safety of the child. Now, you're probably wondering why you don't have to do it in a bus or a taxi, because there's an exemption under buses and taxis, or for buses and taxis, of which Uber and Lyft are not. They don't qualify as that. So in a taxi, you don't have to. Now, is it safe? No. But if you were in a situation standing out in the rain in the winter, I guess it would be snow, is it safe for you to stand outside of the road? Maybe you're trying to get away from an abusive relationship and you need transportation. Well, you're going to take your children. They're not going to turn you away. Taxis are there to take you. There's an emergency situation, or there's a situation which was unplanned and you have to, this is me speculating. Those are situations where I see it reasonable to put that kind of risk into the situation. That was an interesting question or statement. I don't know how to take that, Barb. But going back to the statement or the answer, the deal is that cars, of which Uber and Lyft are, require seats, and that's why they would deny. The driver would be responsible for the ticket should they decide to take you without a car seat, and it's a hefty ticket. What is the actual ticket? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Because I haven't looked at this recently, and you know what? I store information. There's a current and the deep dive information thing, and the price or the cost of this offense, the fine. I don't remember. I want to say it's about $500, but let's see if I'm right. Child, my AirTag battery is low. I need to change that. Okay, car seat. Is it a child? What's going to be under? Let's do child. Phil, $240. Why did I think it was $500? Okay. Drive while child passenger not properly secured. That's seatbelt. I think that's going to be the same section. 106 sub 4 sub B. 200, 240, 2 points. It should be higher. It should be like $1,000 or $1 million. Children being on inside. It is such an issue. It makes sense. 240 is a seatbelt, so it's 240 for their seatbelt. It should be way more. I have stopped so many people who are transporting children outside of what's lawful or safe. Just it drives me bananas. I'm a dad. I'm a super dad, and I mean that from the perspective of I'm the guy who talks about traffic safety all day, and then when it comes to my house, child safety, because I'm aware of all the horrible things that happens to people and bodies and families and communities. I'm really concerned. And then there's my wife. Thank you. Wife, Leo wife, who is even that about me, like protecting me. Because, I bought winter tires for the first time after being married because I always grew up on all seasons. My wife said, no, we want you to be safe. You're getting winters. And she opened my eyes to a whole world of safety and security on the road. It is so much nicer to drive with winter tires. It's not snow tires. It's not just for snow. It's for winter. And I will talk about it again, and I won't make the mistake about -7. It is when the temperatures reach and hover and maintain around 7 degrees Celsius, that is when you should be looking to put on winter tires. They're better they don't become those hard rock. The compounds don't do well in the cold. They become, for standard tires, they just don't do well in the cold. So if you've never had winter tires, I suggest you look into it. It's really a whole new world. All right. So I shared that. And can I idle my car to clear the windshield or heat up the car so that I can drive safely? Do you mean, can you idle in the face of the no idling laws? Like, does snow make it okay to idle despite the fine being there? Or if the sign says you can't idle and there's a bylaw in place that you can't idle even if you have snow. That's what brushes are for. Just turning it on so you hope it melts on its own? Yeah, no, it's not. Driving safely means you might have to actually use a brush. You can still get a ticket for idling despite the fact that snow is there and you have a pretty good excuse, but not a good excuse. Why are unmarked cop cars American and very obvious to spot? Why not use Japanese car to be inconspicuous, I think you mean? we buy the cars we buy. I've had an unmarked, truly unmarked, like not a vehicle that's used for stops. Like when we do undercover, we use everything, truly everything, sports cars, luxury cars, everything. That's undercover. That's not telling anyone we're cops. When we're talking about police vehicles used for enforcement purposes, I've had minivans. I've had, what else have I had? I've had minivans. I've had trucks. I've had SUVs. But generally speaking, not Japanese. I don't think I've ever been in a Japanese car used for that. One of the reasons I would assume, and it's me speculating, is twofold. One, there's lighting and equipment and stuff that has to be installed. It's not like we put a laptop on the seat and go. It is a system that is a vehicle that has got to be approved for use, and there's testing done. Most of that testing is going to be on a very specific type of vehicle, and it's usually one qualified for police use. For crash testing, there's got to be a lot of room. We have to be able to get in and out with our bat belt on. That's with all the crap on our belt, guns and tasers and magazines and handcuffs and lots and lots of gear. You put us in, I can't even get into most Japanese cars without that stuff. I'm 6'5", I'm a big guy. I want an F-150 as my everyday, all the time drive because of comfort. You put a gun belt on me, it really changes the way I interact with small vehicles and Japanese vehicles. I don't own one because I don't fit in them. And I've looked at Toyotas, like they're the Tacoma, is it Tacoma, the pickup truck? I can't fit into that comfortably. And then that's not in uniform with body armor and all sorts of junk. No, I would imagine that's one of the biggest reasons. But that's me guessing. Why are you not fined? Well, sorry, why people are not fined for going slower than speed limit on a left lane, slowing the traffic? They can be, but they should also be fined for going over the speed limit. And not everyone gets a ticket for that either. Oddly enough, the people who complain about people going slower than the speed limit are usually actually complaining about people going the speed limit. I was having this discussion with another officer minutes before the show started. Shout out to him, he knows who he is. The fact that people have an expectation that the speed limit is like the starting point, the minimum speed. Now, in the left lane, if you're not actively passing, you shouldn't be there. But if you are actively passing, you should never exceed the posted speed limit. So we've got some issues here, right? People do a lot of things and interpret things and don't care or want to know what the right thing is in some cases. Like we're upset about the things we're upset about, but the things that we probably should be upset about, those things are okay because I think my wife, I know my wife sent me a meme. Let me see if I can pull it up. And where it was a comment. Me passing someone, you slow beep. Me passing someone, me being passed by someone else, okay, speed racer. Can you visualize this? Yeah, when you're the slow guy, it's okay. When they're the slow guy interfering with you, suddenly they're horrible people. Yeah, we need to sort of get on the same page. Does tint tickets affect insurance? What do you think? Room? Everyone here? What do you think? Looking at the stream. I don't see. Cindy says yes. I was waiting for the stream. Yes. Tint tickets will. Forgetting your driver's license at home can affect your insurance. A Highway Traffic Act offense, period, can affect your insurance. And why is that? I'll tell you. The answer is it's a ticket. It means that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, which means that the insurance companies, which I thought had only minor or major, apparently there's minor, major, was it severe and criminal? There's 4 categories. I thought there were only 2. But I was corrected by my friends in the insurance company. I wasn't incorrect. There was more to be told. In any case, a number of minors could equate to a major, and your insurance would then be affected. And the truth is, every insurance company can evaluate their information, the data that they scrape about you, to determine the risk that you are to them. And you are risk. Buying insurance is about managing and mitigating risk. And if you do things that are risky, they don't want you as a customer. You will cost them money. Hey, it's Avandro. How's it going? God, Avandro messaged me. I think you messaged me at like 4:30 in the morning. I just finished brushing my teeth and I responded to you. And just before I went to bed, I responded to him because this was on LinkedIn, which is where Avandro is. And he was talking about coming to the event that I'm going to tonight, which is in support of the Gatehouse. And it just gives me an opportunity to reference the Gatehouse. So, uno momento. We have thegatehouse.org. Let me pull up the website. Let me put it on screen, because the more I talk about the Gatehouse and the magical stuff that they do, well, the better it is for everybody. Flipping. Here we go. So this is the Gatehouse, a safe place where everyone has a voice. They are an amazing organization that is there to support the victims of childhood sexual abuse and trauma. Now, tonight, this is the 5th annual Healing the Voice Within Gala. I don't know why this is cut off at the top. I made the same comment last night. A one-of-a-kind art exhibit that gives space and healing for survivors of childhood sexual abuse. That's at from 7 to 10 tonight at the Liberty Grand Centennial Room in Toronto. I will be there. Tickets are available $85 each, and they are available at www.thegatehouse.org. See how I read so good? I realize you could read this too. That being the case, go to thegatehouse.org if you'd like to buy tickets and attend. And if you are there, come say hello, because I will be there. And they have apparently, they have live painters, entertainment, silent and live auctions, and more. I want to know what the and more is. I'm intrigued. I must know. I want to know what the more is. In any case, unfortunately, Evandro is not available to attend tonight, so I won't meet him tonight because he's working. He's not close by. But you might be close by, and if so, please come and say hello. Support a good cause. Do you have to wear a bicycle helmet as an adult cyclist? Can you get an HTA ticket? Now, this is going to be an Ontario-specific answer, because in Ontario, if you are under the age of 18, you must wear a helmet. Must. If you are a cyclist riding a bicycle, not an e-bike, you don't have to wear one at the age of 18 or older. You're allowed to make bad decisions. And I say that pointing a finger at cyclists who don't wear helmets. Why would you not wear a helmet? Your hair is not that important. Protecting the computer is. The brain stops working, you stop working. It's done, right? So I would encourage everyone to wear a helmet who rides bicycles, rollerblades. If you're doing any kind of activity, I mean, the cyclists who don't like helmets say, well, should I, most falls happen in the kitchen. Should I wear a helmet there too? Yeah, if you're prone to falling, wear a helmet, okay? Simple as that. It protects your computer, the computer here. It is not going to reduce your risk of collision. It is not going to miraculously prevent you from being injured. It is going to reduce the chances of a significant head injury. That's it. I say it like this because when I talk about helmets, people get offended for some reason. It's horrible. And I had one person talk about, my kids don't wear helmets. And I'm like, okay, well, you're eligible as the parent for a ticket if they're at a certain age, and then they're eligible for tickets from the age of 16 onwards. And yeah, bad thing. It's just bad. Why? I've heard of people dying they were standing on the driveway. They had one foot in a what's it called, a pedal lock, racing pedal, where they have and they lost traction. They fell over and they hit their head on a curb and they died. Maybe if they were wearing a helmet, it wouldn't have happened. Is that victim blaming? No, it's talking about the truth. It's talking about the truth. And I don't know who it is that I was blaming in that situation, but not that would have necessarily saved them, but it might have. Anyway, if you're riding an e-bike, major thing to know, you must always wear a helmet. It is required by law on an e-bike and a motorcycle. Not an option when you're 18. Nothing changes on the e-bike. $65 ticket, I think. Yeah. Good morning. Quick question. Can you change lanes while traveling through an intersection? I grew up thinking you could not. I was wrong. I learned when I became a police officer that it is not illegal to change lanes within an intersection. However, it is less safe. And I say that because while it may be legal, most people don't expect that to happen. They expect you to do what everyone does, drive through. So if you can avoid changing lanes within an intersection, that would be a good idea, because you are increasing considerably the chances of becoming involved in a collision, because everyone arrives to that intersection expecting everyone to do a certain thing. You're all part of a dance, a production, if you will. And when you do and deviate from what's normal, well, you might cause a collision. And you would be responsible. Changing lanes is a situation where if collision occurs, you would likely be responsible. Now, one of the most common collisions is where you change from lane 1, the left lane, to lane 2, the curb lane. In a decision area, there's 2 lanes, and someone's making a right turn from the intersecting road. And they look left and look right, and they make a determination that it's safe to go. They start driving, you start changing lanes. You meet in the middle. It's a collision. Are you both responsible? Yes. But your actions really would be more responsible because you did something out of character, and you're both responsible. Maybe it's 50-50. Here's the deal. We charge everyone for what they do, and then the insurance companies determine where on the 1 to 100 scale you fall into for responsibility. Are you retiring soon? The question I alluded to earlier. Do you think I should? I don't know. I'm not retirement age. I am not retirement age, and there's no end in sight. I'm eligible to go in 9 years. 9 years is a long time, but I am eligible to go in 9 years. So I have no idea, and I could stay. I could stay forever. If there's something for me to do, maybe I will. There's no rush to get me out the door, and I can stay. My normal retirement would be a few years later, but I'm eligible. There's something called factoring. So a civilian on this job has to work to the 90 factor, and I have to work as a police officer to the 85 factor. That's my age plus my years of service combined. As soon as it hits 85, you can go with a retirement without a penalty. That doesn't mean you get a full pension. It just means you can go without a penalty. Anywho, not retiring soon. That's the answer to the question. Sean Chen, good morning to you. Haven't seen you in a while. Sean Chen is a talented young photographer, and we need to connect. I need to know what's going on. I haven't seen you in a while. I think did I see you briefly at Honda Indy, or was that the year before? But I saw you at a couple of other events. In any case, would love to hear how things are going. Let me know. Tesla personalized plates. We can definitely talk about that. Okay, we got confirmation. Michael is into black coffee. Very good. Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Good coffee versus bad coffee. Some swill is so bad you have to put something in it to make it tolerable. And not all coffee is. I actually taste coffee now. For the longest time, I tasted the hint of coffee. It's like eating coffee, a coffee ice cream. It's not coffee. It's the hint of coffee with cream. And that's sort of how I drank my coffee when I was a kid. And yeah. Okay. Would I recommend TPS to a kid? Are yellow headlights legal? We'll talk about that. I'm flagging questions that I'll be answering in a moment. What do we have here? Spiked wheel lugs. We can talk about that. Hazelnut cream. Oh, I like hazelnut. As a dessert coffee, I could do hazelnut. Yeah. Can we smoke during driving? Okay, we'll talk about that. I got struck by an EMS vehicle. Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay. Bugs me that I'm doing the speed limit and people are unhappy about it. Okay. How much can you go on the highway? Scroll back. I lost that one. Going back to it. Stand by. There it is. So the speed limit's 100 and you want to know how fast you can go? Okay. Interesting. Okay. Questions about speed limits in reverse. Can you have more people in a car than there are seatbelts? We can talk about that in a moment. By the way, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. It's my thing. It's my specialty. I've always wanted to be a traffic guy, specifically a cop. But I did talk about VZ. Thank you. I got a reminder. Did you talk about Vision Zero? I totally talked about Vision Zero. It was like a verbose, in-depth, talking about Vision Zero, the whole thing. Yeah. But my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police officer in the wonderful city of Toronto, in the magical province of Ontario, in the great country, Canada. I am not knocking any other country, but this is the country where I am, so I will talk it up real nice. No, you know what? We have listeners from around the world, but the law and the information that I speak to is very Ontario-centric. Every province in the country has slightly different laws. They have their own acts. When it comes to traffic, when it comes to criminality, the criminal law is in the Criminal Code of Canada, and that might suggest that it might be Canada-wide because it is. Our criminal laws are Canada-wide, which is interesting because if you look at the United States, they're not. They have federal law and they have traffic law, and and they have criminal law. And well, let's break it down. Traffic and regular crime is state law in the United States. Federal law is unique. I'm fascinated by American law because murder is state law and mail fraud is federal law. Totally. Anyway, it's wild. Wild. Okay. More talk about Ubers and taxis. Do I think that pickup truck drivers are less observant? We can talk about that. Comment from TKF Clips. Winter, tired, slush, ice. Okay, we'll talk about that. Can people ride in the back of a pickup in rural areas? How should a G2 tester behave? That seems like a loaded question. Ryan Dow. Okay, we're talking. That's a long and involved question. We'll certainly go into it. Michael L. It's a different Michael. Why do police wear vests? Where to go? It scrolled up. Oh, there's lots of questions. Thank you for everyone asking questions. I love the questions. Talking about vests. What is the penalty for lane splitting on a motorcycle? We'll talk about that. Another comment. That's another topic I was talking about like 5 minutes before we went live. What's the sidearm that you guys use? Okay. Actually, I can tell you while I'm flagging other things that we are regular for Toronto Police in particular. It's a Glock. It's a Model 22. It is not a model. That is not a 22 caliber. It is a Glock 22, which is chambered in 40 cal Smith & Wesson, but it's the full frame Glock. Whereas the Glock 17 is a 9mm, and our tactical guys use 9mm because they issued them. They got them issued before everyone else converted to 40 cal from 38s, and they use the same. I believe they maintain that because it's the same ammunition that they use in their HK submachine guns. Let's see here, or rifles. Are they submachine guns or are they rifles? Anyway, they're guns. Okay, high flow cats. Why can't I filter? Can I use my built-in car screen? Is it? Can't I use? Yeah. Can I use my? Okay. Can I eat donuts while driving? Oh, that's a very important question. We can certainly talk about that. That affects a lot of people. If there's a left turn lane that stays, okay, we'll talk about that. Cyclists or e-bikes entitled to use, okay, we'll talk about that. Giving you a little heads up as to what kind of questions are being asked, so you know if it's worth hanging out. I know a lot of people jump in and jump out of the live stream, and I want to tell you what's coming. Now, as I say that, I want you to know that this entire live stream is obviously forever available for replay on all the platforms except for TikTok. It disappears on TikTok. But you can go onto our YouTube page, youtube.trafficcop.ca. We'll take you a shortcut directly there. You can also download it if you follow us on your favorite podcasting app, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It's available on most of them. Google Podcasts for as long as it survives. You can synchronize and download it to your app. Listen to it while you're driving without the risk of breaking the law, unless it supports video, which case don't watch the video when you're driving. That would be illegal. Okay, police using question about vehicles. Question about tickets. We can talk about that. Can you match the speed of a cop car? Okay, we'll talk about that. Definitely we'll talk about. We talked to, colored fog lights. Well, you know what, that one, how tall am I? I'm 6'5", which always shocks people. People are absolutely gobsmacked when they meet me in public and they go, "You're so much bigger than you look on television or my screen." And I always find that very funny because you're talking to me or you're probably watching me on an iPhone or an Android, and I can imagine I look a lot smaller when you're holding me in your hand. So, I'm 6'5". I'm a big dude apparently. Let's see here, but the question, I'll answer that one just because it's there and it's a short one. Can I use colored fog lights? If the color is yellow or white, then yes. If it's any other color, then no. That's a good question. That would be an instant pull you over, have a conversation, issue a ticket situation for me. Driving solo in HOV lane. What is this one? Something about BMWs and blinkers. Hang on. New questions are throwing things off. Can you recommend a long life blinker fluid? I don't know if can endorse a specific brand name, but finding one that's compatible with BMW drivers is apparently an issue and hard to locate, based on everything that I see online and from comments from other videos. Yeah, apparently compatible blinker fluid is difficult to source. This is obviously for those who are not getting the joke in the undertone. Some BMW drivers don't know how to use their signals. Okay. Some. I'm not going to say all. What is this? If I run different pairs of tires on my pickup, is it legal? What do you mean? And I appreciate for anyone who says, this is out of sequence. He's not. This is not. Mine came first. I'm getting to you. I'm flagging questions and I'm going back. But that's one where I need clarification, so I'm throwing it out there now. Do you mean like different sizes, like tiny ones in the front and big ones in the back? What do you mean? Like all the same brand? Okay. What is this? Portuguese. Evandro wants to let people know that if there's anyone, let's see here. I think he's inviting you to go look at his page, I think. If any Portuguese speakers don't speak English and need to know about traffic law in Ontario, check out my new channel, Evandro Traffic Law, Instagram and TikTok. Very cool. He is taking content information. We're clarifying the points, so he's getting the right information, and he's resharing that on his channel. And that's cool because we want to be able to serve as many communities, and language is a barrier at times. I don't speak Portuguese, and I want to be able to give the best information. So Evandro is helping to make that possible. He's not a police officer. He wants to be a police officer, and he is committed to helping his community, and I really respect that. Do cops care about loud exhausts? Yes, because you need one, and you get a ticket if you don't have one. Okay, questions about how many times you're allowed to take your test for your license. Can my headlights be very lightly tinted? We'll talk about that. How long after smoking cannabis would it be safe and legal to go driving again? That's definitely something we can talk about. I had a lengthy conversation. I got to download that episode and edit it. Thanks for a reminder. Okay, scrolling back. Boy, there's a ton of questions. It's a fantastic ton of questions. Love the questions. Can I use the phone when it's on the phone holder? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Do I have to keep the original ownership of the vehicle in the car? We'll talk about that. McDonald's or Tim Hortons? I'm actually very curious what everyone thinks. But I will drink coffee, and it's wherever I am closest to. I don't go out of my way for a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons. I go for a coffee. If I am in need of caffeine, I feel the need. I just go. I won't do a 2K to the left or the right. If it's in front of me, I'm drinking it. I don't care. I noticed you didn't put Starbucks into the mix. Are you anti-Starbucks? I'm actually drinking fresh ground. Well, it's not fresh ground. It's fresh brewed. But I've ground the beans because the machine I have takes whole bean. And it's Costco Starbucks beans. Now, that doesn't mean it just happens to be what I got today or this time. Car seat question about 5-year-olds. Good morning. What's the appropriate car? Okay, that's the same one. Glock deuce deuce. Okay. Are color tinted fog lights legal if not blue or red? We covered that already. How tall are we? Covered that already. May we meet dog services, Marine Unit, ETF, one at a time probably. I've had the opportunity to go into the do some touring on the water and discussing things with Marine before. I would love to make content with them. And Sergeant Kulik is a former member of the Marine Unit. Dog services and ETF all would be great. I need a film crew. That's what I need. I'd love to create content with them. And maybe we'll get them in here, or maybe I'll go on location. We'll figure something out. At what point does a Power Wheel become an electric car? My Cub Pack. What is this? My Cub Pack. I was a member of Cub Scouts. Where'd it go? I appreciate that I've not answered questions. I've just been scrolling through. But I will go back and answer these. I got 41 pinned messages. Really? Okay, let's go back and clear some of these out. Okay, we already covered some of them, so now we're down to the third. So if my Sikh friend, don't stop bringing them. It's good. Anything that comes in before 11, we'll go. It's all good. It's all good. So here's the question. If my Sikh friend were to attach a GoPro to his religious headdress when riding a motorcycle, is that legal? Well, actually, it would be. Now, this story or this question and answer have a history because I've talked about the fact that it is illegal to mount a GoPro to the shell of a helmet. It makes a helmet improper. Being that members of the Sikh faith who are practicing and riding motorcycle are not required, they're exempt from requiring a motorcycle helmet. Thus, if they added a GoPro to their turban, it would not be any change. They're not wearing a helmet. It doesn't make the helmet that they're not wearing improper. They're not wearing a helmet. So I think it's a fantastic question, Michael. And the answer is it's legal. Hey, my friend has a Tesla, but he got a personalized plate, so it's not green. Can he still use the HOV? Sad news for your friend. The HOV requires a green plate. When you get personalized plates, your plates are no longer green. They do not offer vanity plates in green. Thus, they've lost their privileges. It really upsets people when they find that out because that's probably the second biggest reason to having an EV is to be able to use that express lane, as it were. And no, you can't use it. Now, I know it's an EV. I know it qualifies for the green plate, but you're technically not permitted. Will you get a ticket? Yeah, you could. Would you recommend TPS to a kid? Like, as a kid who wants to break the law, no. It's not good to get arrested. Not good to be a criminal. I'm assuming you mean to a person who wants to become a police officer. And that allows me to segue into a quick spiel about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. I think this is a great place to work. It's a great place to be employed, regardless of what you're doing within the service. Yeah, I've been a member of the service for, this is going into 24 years, and I have worked in 3 different roles: police constable, special constable, under courts when I was hired, and as a volunteer within the auxiliary program. And I've loved every minute of it. It's been fantastic. We're obviously hiring police officers. We need them. Police officers are a very in-demand job right now everywhere in the world. And not everybody wants to do the job. Not everybody should do the job. It's not just a job. This is not the same as punching a clock and going home and watching the tube and forgetting the fact that of everything that happened during the day. It's something that can change you both positively and negatively. We have people who, they're affected. They see terrible things. I still think it's worth it. I've seen terrible things. I deal with a lot of death, or at least used to. But you're helping people, and that is the greatest honor that you can have, in my opinion. Helping someone in their darkest moments, protecting people, making society better. It's really important. So if you have an interest in becoming a police officer, there's your information there. If you're interested in being a special constable, working in the courts, working as the divisional booker, or helping police on the road as a special constable in a divisional, special constable capacity, then those are options for you. Parking enforcement option, amazing opportunity. Doesn't have the same kind of responsibilities, but they do help keep the city moving. And without them, we'd all probably be sitting in gridlock more than we already are, because people will just leave their cars everywhere. Now, let's see if there's any new job postings. There's 3 new job postings. Custodian, office services. They're looking for a custodian. Senior systems analyst and communications operator. These are job postings that were not here yesterday. So why does it say no longer available? It wasn't here. Senior systems analyst, 110, actually almost 111,000 to 130,000. That's a cool job, I assume. I don't know anything about it. It's open till October. What? It opened. It said, 1 second. It did not show up yesterday when we looked. If you go watch the tape yesterday, I looked at this and it did not have it listed. It says it was posted on the 22nd, so maybe there's a glitch in the system. In any case, it closes today. If you want to be a senior systems analyst, I would suggest you apply today. Comms operator and custodian, which custodian says it's closed. Posted yesterday. That makes no sense. They must be having some technical difficulties. Anyway, want to have a great job, a great career. Maybe you're starting a family. This is a place that you come here. You don't pop in for 2 years and leave. You make a life out of it, and it's a great place to work. Okay, are yellow headlights legal? Yes. Yellow or white is legal in Ontario for the headlight or fog light or front projector bulb, yes. Spiked wheel lugs, are they okay if they don't stick out past the body or vehicle? That's a really, is it safe? You know, there's a potential for the contact to come in, like to touch a pedestrian, to make a mess out of flesh. I would say it's a bad idea, regardless if they're legal or not. I would probably look for a reason to charge someone if they had done damage as a result of those. Generally speaking, just having them on the car, I don't know. I'm gonna have to defer that one. I don't actually know if it's legal or not. I'm not aware of anything in the books or a fine for pointy, sticky, outy thing. But at the same time, I just think it's a bad idea and a recipe for a bad day, because you could, especially if it sticks out, because you could make contact with something that you weren't planning to. Can we smoke during driving cigarettes? So if you're not in a commercial motor vehicle, you're not in your workplace, then you can legally smoke a cigarette if you are of age, and as long as it doesn't interfere with your ability to safely operate your motor vehicle, and that there's nobody in the car or vehicle under the age of 16, because then you can be charged under the what's it called, Smoke Free Ontario Act. So yeah, but it's not illegal if you're alone or in your own vehicle and no kids. I got struck by an EMS vehicle when they're responding to a call. What's the procedure? It's a collision report. Did they not stick around? It's a collision report. It's an investigation. They're probably responsible. That generally happens if the flashy flashlights are going. We're usually responsible. But yeah, it's a collision report, and then you go and report it to your insurance, and Bob's your uncle. Unless it's Jeff who's your uncle. Let's see here. It bugs me that I feel that I'm doing the speed limit and everyone else is going over here in London, Ontario. Sorry for complaining. No worries about complaining. I have the same complaints. I do the speed limit and I'm passed like I am going backwards. The amount of people who don't give a crap about the speed limit, who don't respect it at all, is actually thoroughly disappointing to me, because these are people who are choosing to put lives at risk, who don't care, who don't want to accept that speed is an issue, and are actively choosing to break the law. They're bullies on the road. And I equate it to schoolyard bullies. They're just doing it. And if you say they're doing it because everybody else is doing it, you're no better than the bully. You know, if someone was yelling and screaming obscenities at someone, bullying them, would you do it too? Everyone else is doing it. It's that whole, the CN Tower analogy of if everyone else was doing it. Anyway, I won't go there. I did sort of, but not really. How much can you go on the highway? The speed limit is 100. What's the maximum speed? If the speed limit is 100, the maximum speed permitted on the road is 100. That's the limit. It's not the minimum. It's the max. Is there still a speed limit when you go in reverse? Yeah, speed limit's supposed to speed limit regardless of the gear you're in. Now, if you try and do the speed limit backwards, I'm probably going to charge you for careless driving. Not only that, you're probably going to blow up your transmission because it's not meant to go fast. Can you have more people in a vehicle than there are seatbelts? No. Everyone inside of a motor vehicle must have a seatbelt. It must be designed for them, and it must be there and available. You can't put two people in one seatbelt, although people often try. It is not legal. I've charged many people for overcrowding a vehicle, having people not seated. Now, if the person is 16, they get their own ticket. If they're under 16, the driver gets the ticket. Fun. Okay. So a taxi car allowed to transport, but an Uber car is different. How does this make sense? Because a taxi is a taxi, and an Uber is not a taxi. It's because the law was written to allow it, and Uber is just somebody who's driving their car. If you make Ubers suddenly not fall under the regular rules, do they have to put a child in a car seat if they're driving their own child? At what point do we take child safety seriously? Now, we cannot say that nobody can be in a vehicle without a car seat, because that's restricting the ability to have access to transportation. Like, should a subway car have seatbelts? Well, if a bus has it, shouldn't a subway car have it? But a bus doesn't have it, so a subway car doesn't have it. But it's I don't make the rules, but I get why an Uber is different. And if you don't, one is a professional driver. Not saying they're a good driver, but they're a professional driver. An Uber driver is a ride share could be a professional, could not. Let's see here. It's different. I can't articulate better than I already have. Do you find pickup drivers to be less observant of the rules of the road? They're drivers, pickup or otherwise. No, I've not found that I have a pickup truck, or I've had pickup trucks. I don't currently have a pickup truck. I am no less observant of the rules of the road than when I had a tiny car. Yeah. Good winter tire for the slush and ice is key in most of Ontario. Focus on getting tires for that versus snow. Well, it's not snow tires. They are winter tires. It is the compound with an appropriate tread pattern to allow the snow to cut through the snow. Whereas a water tire, a tire that's meant as a rain and summer tire, is totally different. In fact, the tread patterns for and the compound for winter tires do not do well in the summer. People go, oh, it's a squishier compound. It's going to be like racing tires. No, you actually increase your stopping distance. It takes you longer to stop with winter tires in the summer than it does with summer tires in the summer. And summer tires in the winter, well, they just don't work well. That's just bad medicine. Can people ride in the back of a pickup truck in rural areas? No, the province doesn't care if it's rural or not. A pickup truck is not, or the bed of a pickup truck is not a lawful place to transport persons. This question, I don't understand. How should a G2 tester behave? Professionally? In accordance with whatever rules dictated by the drive test? I don't know. I assume professionally covers it, though. Let's see here. Okay. A complicated question, but we'll do this one. You're being a good person and doing everything right and decide to help your neighbor by driving their autistic 10-year-old child to school. You ensure the child is wearing a seatbelt, but he subsequently removes it. An idiot cop issues a ticket. So there's more here. Let me go back to where the idiot cop issues a ticket for the offense. Should it hold up in court? Well, if they were wearing their seatbelt, they wouldn't have gotten a ticket. If they were a child 10 years old, you as the driver got the ticket, not them. It is a problem. It is a problem. Now, could the officer, first of all, I don't think it's appropriate to call them an idiot. They were following the law, and the person who was not wearing the seatbelt wasn't. And you as the driver, knowing that the person is the passenger, the child, has issues, developmental issues, or is autistic, they must be monitored. And you're still guilty. So I don't appreciate the language, but I do understand the frustration because you're helping somebody out and you may not have been aware that they take their seatbelt off. I get it. Is it something that the court will determine that there is a leniency opportunity? That's up to the courts. But the officer was was laying an appropriate charge, and they may not have understood or appreciated the fact that this person, the passenger, had any issues. So I'm sorry that it's a bad experience. I'm assuming it was an actual experience as opposed to a manufactured one for the question, but I get both sides of it. If you were involved in a collision, they'd still be injured or killed as a result of not wearing a seatbelt. Maybe they need a child seat. Maybe they need a child seat and a system in place, and it wasn't appropriate for you to help them out. And if they were in their parents' car, maybe there was the appropriate seat for them that they couldn't open up. Anyway, it's not something I'm familiar with. I've not been in that situation. I'm speculating here. Why do police wear the vests? Are they bulletproof or stab-proof? If not, why? We wear body armor. They're meant to stop bullets, and they. I don't know if anything's anything proof, but they certainly are better than not wearing things, and we have to wear them. Why? Because not everybody likes police, and we may be in situations where we have to protect ourselves And wearing a vest can go a long way to ensuring that the vital organs are protected in a bad situation. What is the penalty for lane splitting on a motorcycle out of curiosity? I assume that there's a syntax error here, and it's what is the penalty for lane splitting, and out of curiosity is why the question was asked, as opposed to lane splitting out of curiosity. Anyway, I'm making a joke. It's not a good one, but we'll move on. Lane splitting could either be careless driving, stunt driving, or dangerous driving under the criminal code. It really depends on what the officer sees. Is careless driving 490 and 6 demerit points? I think it is. And it may or may not be, but it's in that range. Obviously, stunt driving is $2,000 to $10,000 and up to 6 months in jail. Criminal is criminal and has a whole whack of other things that could go with it. It could be also a combination of charges. It's a bad idea. We talked about the sidearm already. So high flow cat fully legal. If the high flow cat is a legal cat, then it would be a legal cat. There would be and I don't know what the difference between them. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not going to pretend to be one. But there are cats that are cats for show, and there's cats that actually are cats. If they are catalytic converters that meet the requirement under the law, they'd be allowed even if they are more free flowing than the one that came with your vehicle. Follow up on motorcycle. Why can't I filter traffic on my motorcycle when it's more dangerous for a rider to sit in traffic? I don't have a problem with people pulling in between two cars so they're not the last vehicle in line. But why can't you just drive on the sidewalk? Why can't you drive on top of, the law says you can't do it. Actually, it doesn't say you can't do it. It says you can't do anything careless, stunt, or unsafe. And driving between vehicles, not safe. I know it may be safer for you not to be the last vehicle, but most people are just using it to get into the front of traffic and get to where they're going faster. Can I use my built-in car screen, Apple CarPlay limits? So yes, you can, within reason. You can change your air conditioning. You can turn your heated seat on. You can tune the radio. But the moment when you are engaged in an activity that is negatively impacting your ability to safely operate a motor vehicle, you're looking at careless driving. And once upon a time, prior to the introduction of distracted driving laws, careless driving is what we would have charged you for distracted driving. Distracted driving, though, is when you were using the handheld communication device, not by remote control, not by CarPlay. And it is something that could lay charges, but very, very serious charges when it comes to distracted driving. Oddly enough, when it was introduced, it was lesser than careless driving. Careless driving had 6 demerit points, and the introduction, did it have points? It may have been 1.25, no points, and then I think they introduced points after. In any case, it kept going up because people aren't getting the message. They can't put the phone down. So the charge that was originally lesser than careless is now greater than careless. It's wild, but it's based on the behavior of the people who can't stop touching their phone. And it is a serious, serious problem. More collisions are caused by distraction than impairment now. Impairment by alcohol or drugs. Can I eat a donut while driving? Yes, but same thing goes as your CarPlay, unless it is negatively impacting your ability to safely drive your vehicle, operate your vehicle. So if you are just in the moment eating that donut and you got sticky fingers with all your chocolate dip, and you end up weaving all over the place, that's careless driving. Whether it's because of the donut, the coffee, your dashboard, you need to be focused on driving. You need to figure out a technique for donut eating while driving that is safe. What is this? Oh, if there's a left light lane that will stay red unless there's 2 cars, can I stop one spot back? Technically, it's stopping in the wrong place for stop signs. Is it applied? I understand the reason why. I wouldn't have an issue with it. That's not something I would. And even if I pulled you over to investigate, I think that would be a reasonable articulation. I do this because I'd be there till tomorrow. Otherwise, I think that's reasonable. Is there an area of law that speaks to it? I don't know of it. Like in a stop sign scenario, it would be stop wrong place. But in the scenario where you have a light, I don't think it would be. Are cyclists or e-bikes entitled to use the entire driving lane? Yes, under certain circumstances. So yes, if they can maintain the flow of traffic. Otherwise, they're required to stay to the right of the lane. And then drivers are required to give them a meter of space while passing them. So it depends. And, or of course, if they're changing lanes to make a left turn or whatnot, then they can. Is Toronto using Durangos and the new Tahoes? I don't think we have any of those. I think we're just using the Ford Explorers at the moment. Oh, I'm like, I got a click in the back. What is this? I had speeding tickets in 2020, but the officer reduced it, and it said insurance won't see it. If I switch insurance companies, will they see the ticket? Speeding tickets are speeding tickets, and insurance companies see all of those, regardless of what speed it was, reduced or otherwise. Either you misunderstood or they gave you bad information, but insurance companies will see tickets of any kind. Even I forgot my license at home tickets, even non-moving violations, they'll see them. Any conviction will be shown. Yeah. Can you speed the speed of a cop car with no sirens? Well, I hope you have no sirens. It would be illegal for you to have sirens. The answer to can you match the speed of a cop car on the highway with no siren is no. Police are legally permitted to exceed the speed limit with or without sirens or lights. You are not, ever. So if I was doing 120 and you were pulling up beside me and waving hello, I could pull you over and write a ticket. In fact, I can pull you over and write you a ticket for any speed over the speed limit. 1 kilometer over the limit is speeding. It's illegal. Don't do it. Stay at or below the speed limit. That is all. I have spoken. Yeah. That's the deal. Yeah, you're not allowed to. What? No, you cannot pace the speed a police car. And I appreciate the question. That's a good question. Fine and points for driving solo in the HOV lane. I keep forgetting what this is. I want to say it's 150 or 170, and I think it's 2 demerit points. Let's see. HOV, high occupancy. Is that what it is? Improper use of high occupancy lane, 3 points, $110. That's cheaper than I thought it was. No person shall drive a motor vehicle in a high occupancy vehicle lane or enter or exit a high occupancy vehicle lane except in accordance with the section of the regulation. Oh, so if you cross the double line with the hash marks inside, it's $110 too. Okay. We already talked about blinker fluid for BMWs. I'll reach out to Sean Chen. Cool. How many times can I try for my G license? I think you can keep paying for it and keep doing it forever. I don't think they'll ever stop you. Not aware of anything anyway. Mind you, if you are not passing, I would suggest getting professional training. There's something that you're not doing, and if you failed multiple times, you're consistently not doing it, get professional training. That's the answer there. Get some coaching. Can my headlights be very lightly tinted? The answer is no. You are not legally permitted to tint headlights at all. How long after smoking cannabis? I was going to say marijuana, but it's cannabis. Would it be safe and legal to go driving again? That is an unknown. I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because cannabis has different effects and stays in your bloodstream far longer than you would think, and you could be impaired while somebody else may not, and I can't give you a number. Your best bet is not to have any association with alcohol or drugs in relation to driving. Yeah. I got to get I spoke about this in my podcast episode with the people who make the Dragger Alcatest and the Dragger drug testing equipment. And I had that question. And basically the answer was, we can't tell you a specific. Can I use a phone while it's on a phone holder? You can have it mounted on a phone. You can press one button to answer it. You can press one button to hang it up. You can have the screen on in map mode, but that's it. You cannot punch in destinations and stuff like that. Thin White Line Interceptor says, speaking of winter tires, do you think it should be made mandatory like in Quebec? Personally, I absolutely think it should be. If we can mandate safety, why wouldn't we? I know suddenly people would have to spend $1,500 to buy another set of tires. Possibly it would be an expense, but how many collisions could be prevented by it? I'd like to know that. Do I have to keep an original ownership document in the vehicle, or can the driver hold a copy? Yeah, you can. My copy is in my pocket. I don't put anything in the car. Nothing goes in the car. I don't want someone breaking in and finding out where I live. I don't keep originals anywhere. Photocopy is acceptable, but I don't want anyone knowing my address, so I don't put any stuff with my address in my vehicle. And that's perfectly legal. You do have to surrender it upon demand of a police officer or any involved party of a collision, including witnesses. So that's a thing. Anybody like the new live voicemail? Oh, Leo Wife is gone. Thank you so much for the help. I got tons of questions that'll keep me going till the end. So thank you very much again for stepping in for JD. Much, much appreciated. Okay. Did I finish my train of thought? I think I did. If I didn't, let me know. May we meet dog services, Marine? We talked about this already. I'd love to make that happen. At what point does a Power Wheel become an electric car? So are we talking about a toy Power Wheel? If you're using it on the road, first of all, it's not street legal. If it's a child's toy, and very clearly a child's toy, it's a motorized device. It's doing like 3 kilometers an hour. I don't think there's any confusion. If that thing's doing more, significantly more, you're starting to step into the realm of motor vehicle. Yeah. Now, if it's electric, I guess you'd start falling into the categories of scooter or e-bike if it had all the requirements met. But it would, at very least, it wouldn't be, unless it qualified as an e-bike, it would not be a motor vehicle, let's say. Or it wouldn't be, if it exceeded e-bike, it would be a motor vehicle. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but it's a very cool question, because we're talking about Power Wheels, 4-wheel toy with plastics, hollow tire. I mean, this would be a horribly dangerous thing. I've seen ones that have been ripped apart and rebuilt either with drill motors and high-powered batteries or gas-powered motors. Mind you, they probably just took the body off and put it on a go-kart, but we're not talking about a good idea here. But I do appreciate the comment and the question. And I wish I had a better one. I haven't really given much thought. And a lot of these things, they require thought. Okay. Questions about being stopped. Chase confirming that I am in fact tall. When can 911 be used on the highway for dangerous driving, texting, and driving? So 911, if you're calling in to report an emergency, you can call using the phone directly. You don't have to use a handout. Now, texting and driving is not something where they're texting and driving, so you're going to pick up your phone and call and say, I see a guy texting and driving. That is not an emergency. That is not legal, but it's not an emergency. Emergency is suspected impaired driver, an assault in progress, a fire, a collision, emergencies. Yeah. Can I ride a bike on the sidewalk in Toronto? No. In the city of Toronto, you are required to be under the age of 14. Thus, you cannot be over 13 and ride on the sidewalk. And even when you're on the sidewalk at that age, you must be doing so in a safe manner. There are bylaws where you can be charged. But yeah, sidewalks are for pedestrians and those on mobility, personal mobility devices like wheelchairs and mobility scooters, medical mobility scooters. I got to clarify, because everyone's got a mobility scooter now claim, even though they're not mobility scooters. Anyway, if I get a ticket in BC but live in Ontario, how will that work? You should pay your ticket and take responsibility, or choose to fight it. But we will see your tickets here. It will affect your license here. If you don't pay it, you'll get suspended here, because you'll get suspended there. Oh gosh, yeah. I saw a guy watching a video on his phone when I was driving. Could I call 911? A movie, I think that might be the threshold where I'd say this is a major concern. It's beyond texting. We're talking about focused on a movie. That's just wild. Yeah, I could see myself being motivated. I might try the non-emergency. I don't know. If you combine the movie with erratic driving, I think 911 would be appropriate, because maybe they're drunk or high. Because who the heck thinks it's appropriate to watch a movie while you're driving? Yeah, just saying. Can I legally cut my resonator off? That's required equipment. Will Toronto Police bring back the cadet program? Good question. Other police services have. We have a special constable program. It's not quite a cadet program, but I think it unofficially acts that way. I think a lot of people who join the special constable program end up becoming police officers. Many court officers did in the day. I was one of them. But yeah, not a true cadet program. Other services, I think Halton has an actual cadet program again. Akela's got to take off. Are cops allowed to run red lights? Run red lights without stopping? No. Police, fire, ambulance are permitted to go through red lights under certain conditions for certain purposes. Police have the widest breadth of what's permitted under the lawful execution of their duty, but we must have our lights and sirens active. We must come to a complete stop prior to going through, and then we are allowed to go through. We can't. No one can go through without stopping. And sometimes I seem to think red trucks kind of push the limits on that. Maybe their stops aren't stops. Just saying. How did you get into doing these live streams? Funny story. I got hit by a motorcycle. No, I was on a motorcycle. I got hit by a car. It was much worse than getting hit by a motorcycle. I'm sure either one would hurt. But I was on a motorcycle, got hit by a car. Was looking for some meaningful work. And after I came back from recovery, and still recovering years later, but anyway, I started supporting the media relations officer. I had a background in photography and video, mostly hobby and side business when I was doing weddings and bar mitzvahs and that sort of thing. So and graphic design and things of that nature. So I was able to help with social media. And one day I found myself both in front of the camera and creating content as a creator, experimenting with TikTok because we had an investigation that dealt with material on TikTok. So I created a whole bunch of stuff for other platforms. I started posting it on this platform, and it took off. And Bob's your uncle, unless your uncle's Jeff. You did a Spanish radio show not too long ago. I did. In fact, I was kind of expecting to do one today, but I didn't hear it back from the radio station. So yeah. What is this? Okay. Akela does not drink coffee. What do we got here? Anything on Tim's? I had better coffee at work. Oh, okay. Yeah. Coffee's really a very specific thing. We're talking about what kind of coffees we like. Isn't government phone not allowed to use TikTok anymore? I am not on a government phone. And I'm also not seeing the screen updating. That's weird. There we go. Isn't government phone not allowed to use TikTok anymore? So we have two stages of things. First of all, we have connected devices, which are actually part of our intranet. They're part of our secure equipment. And then we have equipment that is not secure. Two things are true at the moment. I have a device that is outside of the network, so I could actively use the app that is not tied to anything else, no security concerns. It's a standalone. But I don't even do that because this camera is currently broadcasting on all platforms. It is a Sony camera, not a smartphone, and it is going into a website that sends a feed. It's going into a computer that goes to a website that sends an RTMP feed to TikTok. I'm not actually directly connected to TikTok at all. So, yeah. But here's the deal. You're on TikTok. Anybody is on TikTok now. We have 631,000 people on TikTok. We're not turning our back to them. We're finding ways to ensure that we deliver useful information, valuable information to them. And that's the story. That's why we're here. What's the maximum window tint? We've had a shortage of window tint questions. So two things. One, for certification, no more than 30% light blockage on the windows left and right of a driver. Windows in the back and the rear window can be as dark as you want, as long as you have clear view to the rear by way of mirrors. Nothing can be on the windshield unless it's a 2016 or older vehicle, at which point you can have a 3-inch or tint strip that goes from the top of the window down to the PS1 or 3 inches, whatever happens first, and nothing else. Now, that is for certification purposes. If it's darker than that, you have an unsafe motor vehicle, you can lose your plates. You can have to go get recertified, where your mechanic should be using a tint meter to ensure that you are in accordance with the law. When it comes to police, for the purposes of the side of the road, yes, we can pull your plates, but How about now? Okay, I seem to have fixed it. This is a web-based studio, and sometimes things don't work, and that was a good example. So hopefully I haven't lost all my questions. Let me see if I can open this up again. Well, this is not good. I have lost all my questions. Maybe we've maxed it out. Let's see here. Page unresponsive. Okay, so we have audio, but I have no other technology. Oh, there it goes. Now it's working. Cool. At least I know for next time. That's awesome. That was scary. All right, going back here. Okay, we talked about this. Just catching up to where I was. All right. Trying to become a police officer, would a youth offense stop me? It depends, case by case basis. It could, but I would talk to a recruiter because if it's been sealed, it probably won't. Can I drive a motorcycle without gear? Only a helmet. I would hope you wear clothing to go with that. There's no regulation that you don't have to wear gear. You don't have to wear a leather jacket or long pants or boots. Like you could technically wear flip-flops. I would suggest against it. I would wear proper gear. I rode police motorcycle for years, wearing nothing more than our nylon, like our regular police pants, whatever those cotton poly blend cardboard things we wear, and this shirt I wore, and although motorcycle we wore leggings, but like knee-high boots. But the fact is, legally no requirement except the helmet. But I would really suggest that, or let you know that when you get hit by a car or lose the bike and slide down the sidewalk, things go bye-bye, like skin. And the saying it has always been, better the cow's hide than your hide. So leather or synthetic alternatives with pads, really good options. Can I turbo my car and our full catback exhaust systems illegal? Catback is okay. You can have a performance catback, which means after the catalytic converter, it's a new set of pipes. They can be freer breathing, but they still have to have resonators and mufflers. You can't have a straight pipe. Can I use a dash cam? Can I use a GoPro as a dash cam? Yeah, sure you can. I don't think GoPros make good dash cams, quite frankly. You're recording an entire situation, an entire drive. And if you don't have anything else, then better than nothing. But what makes a dash cam truly a dash cam is the fact that it sits in looping where it catches the last 3 seconds. And only when you record something, only when you, it'll record endless loops. And only when you get an impact or you hit a button will it tag it and save it. And otherwise, it discards all your other stuff. It has G-force sensors that know what's going on. I think a proper dash cam is the way to go. Turning right on a red. What is this? Turning right on red and there's tow lanes? Tow lanes? Can I still tow? Do you mean bike lanes? What are tow lanes? Can I still turn into the rightmost lane when left turn coming from oncoming traffic? I don't understand your question. Sorry, brother or sister or whoever you are. Hello, if I'm riding my dirt bike on the street without the blue plates, is it okay or not? Dirt bike? Dirt bike not legal on street. You're not allowed to ride dirt bikes. Dirt bikes are not street legal. Plates or otherwise. That would be bad. You would get 1 million tickets. Really bad. And since you're not insured for the road, you're also looking at potential jail time. Because you're not insured for the road. And lack of insurance for the road means bad things happen. By the way, it's also $5,000 to $25,000 for driving uninsured. You can't have, even if you had insurance for off-roading, it's not road insurance, not a legal road, not a legal road bike. Is the speed limit ever be increased past 100 on the 410 or 401? Well, sections of 400 series highways have been raised to 110 in certain areas that are deemed to be safe enough. But at the end of the day, it's not my department. I couldn't speculate. Maybe we're reducing the speed limits in most areas, like in city streets. Chase says, I was going to ask a question, but there's a heck of a backlog. I'll save it for tomorrow, which is, by the way, Friday. We'll celebrate Friday tomorrow. And Chase, if you're here, ask away. I seem to be going right to the. Well, actually, no, we're never going to get to it. Okay. Oh, I've gone past 11. It's 11:22. Is this message? I'll do this super fast. Let's see here. How do I get a car to auto shop, but I can't register it in Ontario without a safety? Tow it, or get a trip inspection. It has to be safe, but you can get a trip permit if it's from another province, where it allows you to travel with a printed piece of paper to provide police. It's a unique situation. Still has to be safe. You can't drive an unsafe vehicle on the road, at which point you would have to tow it. But you can get I pull people over who have no plates, and I'm like, what's going on here? And it turns out they have a trip permit. Kayla wants to know when we're doing the first annual Ask a Traffic Cop fishing derby. maybe we'll talk about it next year. What is this? When do you call off a high-speed chase? When it's unsafe. Anyone involved in the chase the pursuit can call it off. And we're always monitoring for safety. That's the thing. Are oversized tires illegal or legal is the question. How far are they allowed to stick out from fenders? I think it's a quarter of inches the maximum. I don't even agree with that. They should be covered by fender at all times. But I've been told by a mechanic a quarter of inch. I've not confirmed that with the Ministry of Transportation. But the big tires that are sticking out, 5 inches, totally illegal, for sure. Oh, very good point. Police can issue a ticket for any unsecured passengers. Disability is not an excuse. Only a medical exemption would be provided, but a child's not getting a medical extension for that situation. Mortgage David, whose fault is it when people walk into traffic from between cars, like from side street park? That's the pedestrian walking into traffic. That's obviously going to be their fault. You'd have no opportunity to do anything to prevent that. You can't see them until they're in front of you. That's a situation where the person who causes the collision is the person who gets hurt the most. Do bikes ever get ticketed for going on sidewalks? They do. And it's become a big problem in certain communities that have complained, and more enforcement is being directed in that area. How long does a driving record go for? We see forever since you got licensed. However, it is the insurance companies see 3 years, your current 3 years. Funny story. What is this? Funny story that goes into a collision. How'd you become a cop? I applied. I told the story earlier, so if you actually go back to the beginning of this episode, watch it again. What do we got here? Audio cutout, audio cutout, audio cutout. Cool. Okay. We are. Thanks for always staying past the hour to get people's questions. It's my pleasure, Chase. I actually really want to. The goal always is to serve the public, and sometimes an hour just doesn't do it. And there's so much to cover, and we do it every day, but not everybody's available every day. So we really do appreciate it. I really appreciate you, and I really want to get you the answers to the questions you need answers to. Last one, even though it's a late question. What are the laws on electric dirt bikes? Can I drive them on the street? No. E-bikes, if you mean e-bike, an e-bike has specific qualifications. If you go to trafficcop.ca, the laws on that are listed. There's a useful links page, and you can go read up on it. But if you're talking about an electric dirt bike, like a Suron, that is capable of 80 mile an hour or 80 kilometers even, if it's capable of doing more than 32 kilometers an hour, even if you never twist your wrist to go to the throttle that high, it's not legal. If the motor is more than 500 watts, it's not legal for the road. If it doesn't have functional pedals, not legal for the road. It's a motorcycle, needs to be licensed and plated and insured as such to be on the road. All right, it is definitely done. It has been a long and amazing episode. I really, really had fun. I always have fun, though. This is my bag. That's the kind of stuff I like. One joke, because I would be remiss if I did not share the one joke. The one joke is, what dinosaur loves to sleep? A Stegosaurus. I would read another joke because that one stunk so bad, but I got no time because I got to go. And that means I will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., where we do it all over again. Here is the traffic song to take you to that away place. And then we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light.